Hello everyone. So glad you're joining us for the first ever virtual Startmate demo day. I'm Startmate CEO Michael, or most of you know me as Batco. Now I'm narrating today's demo day, so you'll be seeing quite a lot more of me tonight. You'll also meet the rest of the Startmate team, Sasha, who leads the Startmate startup cohort, as well as Sophia, who leads the fellowship cohort. And this is a really different type of demo day than what you're all used to. Usually, the cohort presents in Sydney and Melbourne in front of over 1,000 investors and founders. Well, this time around, we're all stuck at home. So we completely reimagined the way we're going to deliver demo day to you, and I really hope you like it. And the first thing that was really important to us was actually audience engagement. So let's try it out right now. You should have Slido on your right, and you can jump in there already. We should have a poll up running right now. So just let me know where you're tuning in from, and let's see if this actually works. Let's have a quick look how many people actually tuned in right now. We're ticking over just over 372 people, had 1,800 registrations, so that's amazing. Good stuff. But before I go into demo day and how it will actually work and the companies you'll meet, let me tell you a little bit about Startmate. Startmate is a really different accelerator to any other accelerator in the world. Most accelerators in the world are either government, corporate, university, or VC funded. And there are pros and cons to all of those models. Startmate was founded and funded on one simple principle, and that is founders helping founders. And why is that so important to us? Because the best advice and help you can get from someone is the person who's a bit in your shoes and actually has the empathy for what you're doing. On the other side, every single one of our mentors actually has skin in the game. They actually invested in your success. Every single one of our mentors invests from 10 all the way up to $250,000 per cohort into each cohort they want to mentor. So it's really simple. If you win, we win. As you can tell, I'm super proud of our mentors. We've got an incredibly engaged mentor cohort, which includes Cameron Adams, co-founder of Canva, all of the founders of Culture Amp, Luke Kinnear from Safety Culture. But on the other side, there's some mentors who I'm even more proud of, and that's all of our alumni. All of which come back to me after raising post Startmate, and they want to be mentors. And it's those mentors that the teams can actually learn most of. It's the people who are 2 or 3 steps just ahead of you. And remember, every single one of them is actually invested their personal money in your success. And Startmate has been very successful. This is our 9th year running now. We're into our 13th cohort. We've invested in over 110 companies. Those 110 companies are now valued at over $1 billion. And that's super astonishing to me. So how can you be part of it? Well, there's 2 ways. The first one is office hours. What you can do right now is jump on our website or just click the link below, and you can get a free 30-minute chat with one of our mentors and ask them for anything you'd like. We match our mentors up based on their expertise and what you're actually asking for. In a couple of weeks, we'll have more than 100 mentors and VCs connecting them to over 1,000 companies over a 2-week period. So you've got nothing to lose. Pop in your details below. Unfortunately, we can't accommodate every single startup which applies to those office hours. But you're really lucky tonight. But of course, what we'll be doing is giving away 2 of those office hours to 2 lucky candidates. And all you need to do today is tweet Startmate Demo Day, and we'll be giving away 2 random spots and 2 random people spots after company 4 presenting tonight and at the very end of Demo Day. Sophia specifically asked me to also mention to tweet pictures of you whilst you're watching Demo Day and also all your watch parties, because I know there's quite a few of them going on right now, and as some of you posted on Twitter already. Number 2, the other way to get involved in Startmate is actually to apply for the cohort. The next cohort will be going in July. It's a 3-month cohort, and it's for any startup from ideation, MVP stage, all the way up to companies which have $1 million in annual recurring revenue. But I also have 3 huge announcements for the next cohort in July. The first one, traditionally, Startmate has been running in Sydney and Melbourne. And the coolest thing which I've seen happen over the time is that companies relocated from Perth, Adelaide, they relocated from Sydney to Melbourne for the Melbourne cohort, from Melbourne to Sydney for the Sydney cohort. We had lots of companies, as you'll meet one of them tonight as well, relocated from New Zealand to Australia as well. So what I'm announcing tonight is that we'll be running our first ever New Zealand cohort with dedicated Kiwi mentors in July as well. Super exciting to actually have 2 cohorts running at the same time. The second announcement is actually based on the current environment. This is that the 2 cohorts starting in July will be our first fully remote cohorts. And we're super excited for this, as we've seen the Sydney 20 cohort transition halfway through the cohort and actually really enjoying it. The best part about that is that startups anywhere in Australia or New Zealand can actually join the cohort without having to relocate. And the third announcement tonight, I'm actually going to pass over to Sasha. Sasha has led our Sydney 20 cohort over the last 3 months, and we'll tell you a little bit more about our climate efforts.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, everyone. As Michael said, my name is Sasha, and I've been working really closely with the Sydney 20 cohort since the start of the year. I know this is a little strange because I can't see any of you, so my experience of this is just me talking to myself in a room, but I'm going to assume that if I make any jokes, you're all laughing out loud. One of the particularly exciting things about today is that it actually marks the end of our first ever Startmate climate cohort. So I wanted to use this as an opportunity to talk a bit about what that experience has been like, why we launched that initiative in the first place, and also what we have in store next. So to start with, I'm just going to read a little bit about some statistics that illustrate the severity of the problem. As I'm sure everyone in the audience knows, there's scientific consensus that carbon in the atmosphere is causing our planet to warm, and that warming is causing the climate systems that we rely on for life to change in unrecognizable and in sometimes quite unpredictable ways. All you need to do really is look at the summer that we all just lived through to see real world evidence of some of these changes starting to happen around us. I was reading, and by some estimates, at the end of last year, we only had 350 gigatons of carbon left to emit if we wanted to give ourselves a chance of averting disaster. Now, 350 gigatons doesn't mean that much to me, and I'm sure to most of you in the audience it won't mean that much either. But when you do the math, basically what that means is we only have 8 years left at our current emission levels before we reach that tipping point. Looking at the data from just the start of this year, even just from the first 3 months, we're already on track to break the record for our warmest year ever. And there was even a day earlier in the year where in Antarctica, it had the same daily max temperature as in San Diego in sunny California. So basically what I'm trying to get across is that anyone that looks seriously at the science can't help but be alarmed. I was also reading earlier this week a post by Mark Andreessen writing about a different global crisis at the moment, where basically he makes the argument about coronavirus that despite years of warning, our societies were severely under-equipped to deal with the global pandemic, and we're all seeing the effects of that now. He also goes on to argue that it wasn't due to a lack of awareness or technical resources that we're in this position. He goes on to say that really it's a lack of desire, and there's just a general inertia to change within society. So whilst climate change is in some ways quite a different problem, although not entirely separate, I personally can draw a lot of hope from the fact that in some ways it has the same issue. The reality is that we have entire control over the reality we now find ourselves in. So it is a choice more than anything else. So in Mark's words, and now in my words, what we need to do is we need to build. So that is where we see Startmate coming in. We certainly have the desire internally to drive this kind of change. Everyone I've been talking with in the community has expressed a similar level of desire and excitement about what we're trying to do. And as Michael outlined before, Startmate actually has a really long history of supercharging some of Australia's most ambitious entrepreneurs to try and tackle some of those global problems. So when we were thinking about this at the end of last year, we thought, why not realign what Startmate does to try and tackle this problem? So in November, we launched the climate cohort. Within 2 weeks, we had over 100 applications. Over the next month or so, we selected the first 4 companies to take part of our first climate cohort. And we've been working really closely with those companies ever since. And I'm really excited for you to see the progress that they've made even just since the start of this year. So really, the third exciting announcement of today is that we will be running the climate cohort again. The climate cohort is going to run alongside the Melbourne 20 cohort between July and October. and we hope to find even more amazing companies to bring through version 2 of the program. But to do this, we need your help. So I want to hear from all of the founders and friends and family of founders that are trying to tackle this problem, who are looking at building anything from turbines to regenerating tropical forests and everything in between. So if this is you, or you know someone that's passionate about building these businesses of the future, then please reach out. So as I'm sure you're all really excited to actually hear from some of the companies, so I'm going to pass back over to Michael now, and he's going to run you through how Demo Day is going to work.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sasha. All right. Well, you're all itching to know how this is all going to work. But firstly, let's actually go back to Slido. How's that going? Oh, wow. All right. So we had 509 people submit so far. We've got 47% in Sydney, 32% in Melbourne, 4% in New Zealand. Awesome. All right. Well, everybody knows how Slido works now, so we'll be using that throughout the night as well. And Demo Day. So we actually went back to the roots of Demo Day, especially on the demo part. So instead of the companies actually pitching to you, we've asked them to create a 90-second customer-facing demo video to actually demo the product. So there will be 3 parts to each company's presentation. The first one is actually the 90-second video. The second one will be a 3 to 4 minute conversation between me and the founder, which actually gives you time to furiously type away on Slido and ask any questions you have to the founder, and also upvote the question you like best. And we will be asking your top voted question to the founder as well. So as I mentioned, audience engagement is super important. But overall, you'll be hearing from 11 Sydney 20 companies. You can all see them below on the page as well. And we'll be starting in EdTech and PropTech. We'll be going through a wave of COVID impacted businesses and how they actually dealt with it in education, aged care, manufacturing, and travel. And we'll end with our latest climate cohort of 4 companies. They are in activated carbon, solar, breweries, and Lavoy. And if you want to get in contact with any of the companies tonight, there's a button at the bottom of this page which says request a contact. And you can pop in your details to talk to any of the founders after tonight. It doesn't matter if you're an investor, a customer, or you just want to say hello to the company. Feel free to definitely fill out that form. So stay tuned until the end, because the last company tonight just finished raising the Series A during the Startmate program. So let's kick this off. Over to you, Sophia.
Thanks, Michael. Super excited to kick this off. Now, although we can't recreate every aspect of the in-person event, we hope to make this as engaging and magical an experience as possible. Throughout the evening, we would love to see you tuning in. Whether at a watch party or at home alone, please tweet us your selfie with the live stream in the background, or send us a screenshot with the hashtag StartmateDemoDay. We will also be giving away 2 free office hour sessions. Via the Twitter hashtag, we will be selecting winners live on air who will receive a free mentoring session with one of Australia's top founders. The Slido that you can see on this page is for you to ask questions to the founders as you hear from them throughout the night. We will be taking a question from the audience and putting the founder on the spot with your ask. Please upvote on questions that you see coming in. All right, let's kick this off. First up, we have Lane Litz, founder of Chatterize.
Your child spends so much time in English class, and yet, without access to an English environment, they have little opportunity to speak. Without speaking practice, children lose confidence and are unable to improve vital communication skills. When they grow up, these same kids are scared to speak out and lack confidence in international environments. We need a solution that empowers all children to speak out. Welcome to Talktown, a small American town waiting for your child. The citizens of Talktown are always ready for a daily chat.
Howdy. Hello.
Hi there.
Hang out in Talktown for just 10 minutes a day. Each conversation is carefully crafted to replicate real-life scenarios. To supercharge your child's spoken English, your child will learn modern words and native-sounding phrases, communicating in English in the way people really communicate. Your child will perfect their pronunciation and build confidence and fluency in speaking.
Can you say that again?
All while making choices and new storylines as they go. With results in real time, both you and your child will know exactly what to improve.
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
Loved by thousands of kids and approved by just as many moms. Your Talktown friends are waiting to meet you. See you soon.
Awesome. Well, good to have you back. So now that you've seen the video, feel free to post your questions already into the Slido on the side. But you've got like another couple of minutes whilst Lane and I have a little conversation. Hey, Lane.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Yeah. So Talktown looks a little bit like Duolingo. And so how is it different?
You know, Michael, do you know why learning a second language is such a slow and difficult process? It's because most people learn a foreign language in their home country, which effectively means that they have no one to practice speaking with. Learning a foreign language is two parts, really. One part is input, what goes into your head, like vocabulary words and grammar, and Duolingo and all the language learning apps in the world do this very well. But there's a second part of the equation, right? This is output, what comes out of your mouth. And in fact, most people learn a second language because they want to communicate. At Chatterice, what we do is we provide 80% more spoken language practice, communication, conversation than any other language learning app on the market.
Love it. And why is your initial focus China?
Yeah, so the Chinese K through 12 English language learning market is one of the biggest and fastest growing education technology markets in the world. But there's this huge problem. Kids in China are serious about learning English. They learn English from the age of 4 all the way to the age of 22. Michael, I'm talking 16 years, 18 years. And by the time they graduate from university, they're still unable and frankly terrified to speak. So kids in tier 1 cities, they solve this problem by paying a lot of money for virtual tutors, but kids in rural areas where most of the population lives have no solution to build their spoken language and confidence.
But wait a second, so you're actually based in New Zealand. So what's your connection to China?
Yeah, so my co-founder Belisa and I, we've lived in China and worked in China in the education for profit industry for a long time, a combined 15 years. And in what feels like a former life, we were founding leadership at the education technology company VIP Kid. And VIP Kid is a one-on-one tutoring company that is now the most valuable edtech company in the world.
And how did you go over the last 3 months at Startmate?
Yeah, so Startmate was amazing, right? Startmate was amazing. We released our MVP Talktown as a WeChat mini program in mid-February. And since mid-February, 7 weeks later, we have 16,000 students headed straight for 20,000 by the end of the month. And one of the more exciting things is that 70% of our growth comes from tier 3 Chinese cities.
And what's next for you?
Yeah, so right now we're in the middle of raising a $1 million seed round. We already have part of the round committed. And after that, I suppose, I will take over the world.
All right. Well, now to the audience question. So over to you, Sophia.
Hey, Lane. How are you?
Hi, Sophia.
Hi. So number one question coming in is from Ian Gardner. So Lane, what's the revenue model?
Oh, the revenue model. So what we'll do is we'll use our WeChat mini program as an acquisition channel, and we'll build out our proprietary app. And students will pay for levels of content that last about 3 months, moving on from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 up the global standards, really being able to excel at communication and spoken output.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for that, Lane. We'll move on to the next company.
Bye, guys.
For those of you that just joined us, let's give a quick recap of what's going on. So after each founder's video and Q&A with Startmate CEO Michael, we will be taking questions from the audience and asking them live on air. So please put your questions for the founders into the Slido on this page and upvote for your favourite questions that are coming in. We're absolutely loving the engagement we can see over Slido and also Twitter. So please keep your selfies and comments coming and use the hashtag StartmateDemoDay. We will be drawing winners from Twitter for our office hours giveaway at different points throughout the evening. So do stay tuned to be in with a chance. Next up, we have Rob Asher, one of the founders of Giraffe.
Giraffe is the agile urban design platform that allows the trillion-dollar market of architects, designers, and construction consultants to do stuff in minutes that normally takes weeks. We're making property development as agile as software development.
Hi, my name's Rob. I'm one of the founders of Giraffe. I've worked as an architectural designer in top-tier firms in Australia for the last 8 years on hundreds of millions of dollars worth of projects, from commercial towers to schools to cultural centres. And I've seen firsthand just how manual and disintegrated the design workflow is. Let me take you through it. As soon as a client contacts us, we're on Google Maps, printing satellite photos, someone starts tracing things by hand, another person is modelling them in 2D or 3D to get Illustrator output, but none of the areas are coming from there, so there's an Excel document going. At the same time, we're corresponding with consultants via email, so there's endless chains of PDF and Excel that we're having to interpret manually and understand and input back into the design as we iterate towards a solution that works with all the controls and requirements. It's very slow, it's very error prone, and if you can believe it, $65 billion of advice is delivered in Australia alone this way every year. Watch how you do it in Giraffe whilst you hear from some of our customers.
This is Chase. He's a developer in Alabama, USA. Because he can see his planning controls in the browser instantly, he was able to save $30,000 in architectural fees by understanding in minutes that a project wasn't viable. Adam is a designer at a vertically integrated developer. Instead of going away and designing something for a week, he now uses Giraffe to sit down with the managing director. In real time, he can draw concepts, while on the right, the MD can see immediate feedback on costings and the yield of the design. Annie works for a state government. She can now engage external consultants directly through Giraffe to provide a wind analysis or a solar study, just at the click of a button. Giraffe has saved her $15,000 in consulting fees in just the first 2 months.
We live in an urbanising planet where billions of people rely on beautiful, efficient and functioning cities. We are creating a future where designers can leverage data to create them. If you would like to join us on this journey, please reach out.
Right, all right. Hey, so Slido worked pretty well, 25 upvotes and awesome question. Thanks so much. Hey, Rob, are you there?
I'm here. Hey, Michael, how are you doing?
Tell us a little bit about how you came up with the idea for Giraffe.
So just hard work in the trenches. I spent 9 years working as an architectural designer in top tier firms in Australia with one of my co-founders, Lucy, who was an urban designer and someone I was actually working with for 6 years, including at Cox Architecture, which actually helped incubate us.
And what stage are you now? How have you grown over the last couple of months?
So we were in closed beta for 2019 with sort of big pilot customers, non-recurring revenue, but just trying to figure out what the problems were. And we developed the product over that year. We only released to the public at the start of February. And since then, we've closed our first 12 grand of business. We've got 2 license categories. We've got like a $50 a month personal license and a $3,000 a year enterprise license. And we've got customers in both those categories with a pipeline that's growing quite rapidly.
Love it. And what's next for you guys? What do the next 12 months hold?
So right now we're focused on acquiring customers and building out a repeatable business model. Our team is rock solid. So we've got, Lucy and I being the architect and the planner and understanding the market, and Mike and John, sort of our devs. Mike's a PhD data scientist. They're rapidly iterating and rolling features at a rate of knots that is sort of unbelievable. People are commenting on LinkedIn saying, how many people are working for you guys? So we're going to get to 50 grand of revenue before we raise a round, but we'll raise a round at that point. We've started to be approached by some investors now. And of course, if anyone has feedback for us or is interested in this AEC space, we'd love to talk. So I'm Robert at giraffe.build, but we're only going to focus on the round once we've hit that first milestone.
Awesome, love it. Thanks, Rob. All right, over to the audience questions. Over to you, Sophia.
Hey, Rob. So the top ranked question that's come in is, how are you different to Archie Star AI, the company that
that's so good. Okay, yes. So Archie Star, we look very similar. We're built on a similar tech stack, but we're very different. What Archie Star does is it automates the design process to get feasibility done really quickly, whereas we're built with the designer at the center of our product. So we don't automate any of the design decisions. We're built to empower architects and consultants, not automate them. So our target customer is the very customer sort of Archie Star is automating. That's probably the quickest way to describe the difference.
Awesome, cool. Thanks. Let's move on to the next one.
Thank you.
As a team and a cohort at Startmate, we've been working fully remote for the past 6 weeks. Coronavirus has reimagined the way that we work, communicate, and build relationships. In spite of the limitations, it's been such a privilege to see the Sydney 20 cohort thrive and come together as a community and support system. Demo Day has come around very quickly, and we're very excited to share the hard work with the Australian startup community. So please keep your selfies and comments coming through and your questions through Slido. It really is amazing to see everybody live in action supporting our warrior founders. Next up we have Sam, founder of Clipboard.
Sports, performing arts, debating and other activities are critical in helping children develop valuable life skills. That's why millions of schools around the world run extracurricular programs for their students. But managing these activities is a nightmare. Schools have to coordinate their staff, the students and their parents, making sure that they all know where they need to be and when. And if anything changes at the last minute, it leads to confusion and chaos. To make matters worse, many schools try to manage these activities with a combination of manual systems like paper and spreadsheets, which leads to poor communication, wasted time, and a failure to live up to the school's duty of care requirements. While schools have a student information system to manage key student data and a learning management system to manage the curriculum, many schools lack a system to help manage all the activities that take place outside the classroom. That's where Clipboard comes in. Clipboard offers schools an online platform to help them run great extracurricular activities. With Clipboard, schools can assign students to extracurricular activities and teams, schedule music practice or a sports game, mark attendance, and easily notify staff, students and parents if anything changes. Join Australia's leading schools who use Clipboard to run great extracurricular programs. Visit our website to learn more or book a demo.
All right. Don't forget to tweet #StartmateDemoDay. After the next company, we'll be giving away our first free office hour slot with one of our mentors. Hey, Sam.
Hey, Michael.
Hey. So what stage is Clipboard at now? And how did you guys go doing Startmate?
Yeah, thanks. So we're currently helping 22 paying customers across Australia with over 1,700 school staff using our system to run great extracurricular programs every month. We've got about 23K monthly recurring revenue right now. And we've got some of the top independent schools in the country using the system. So you've probably heard of the Scots College in Sydney, Loreto Mandeville Hall, Toorak, and Barker College, for example. I'm also pretty proud of the effort that our team put in throughout Startmate. So we managed to close an 850K seed fundraising round led by Geolix Ventures. We partnered with another major edtech company called Digistorm to launch a mobile app. Now, what that means for us is that we've actually unlocked students and parents as users. And we've also opened up a channel to more than 400 schools globally. And in the first half of Startmate in term 1 of 2020, we also brought 10 new schools onto the platform.
Love it. And COVID obviously would have affected you as you're selling into schools. What happened there?
Yeah, so as you can probably imagine, global school closures and a complete ban on group-based activities threw a bit of a spanner in the works for us. We had a really strong pipeline heading into term 2 with a bunch of schools about to close. And unfortunately, those have had to go on ice for a little while as schools try to rapidly adjust to the changing environment. It also forced us to make some tough economic decisions, and we quickly chose to bring down our burn rate and expand out our runway to above 24 months. We've also seen that schools are now starting to adjust, and they're bringing activities online, and they're running sports activities and music tuition through Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So we're also diverting some of our development resources towards helping our customers manage this shift, which is a super interesting thing. We've seen in this time, amazingly, a lot of inbound leads actually is sports staff just have time on their hands and are reaching out because they're interested in implementing new systems. And also, Michael, we're really confident now through talking to our customers that as schools come back and and things go back to normal, we're actually more important than ever, because the schools are realizing now that now more than ever, they need an efficient and scalable way to communicate to their students and parents.
And what's next for you guys? What do the next 12 months hold?
Yeah, so obviously, like all startups, next 12 months, it's a black box, to be honest. But when the crisis does abate and things go back to normal, we're going to get back to how we kicked off 2020 with Startmate. And that's expanding and growing in the Australia and New Zealand region, and also pushing into the $100 million plus international school market. We'll be focusing on product, particularly stuff that parents listening today would be pretty interested in, I would imagine, which is helping improve the student and parent experience. So improving that experience with cancellations and updates and registering your kid in activities. We'll be broadening the breadth of the activities we help schools manage, and also scaling up our customer support and success teams as we bring new customers on. And as I mentioned in the video, the independent sector alone, there's over 80K independent schools in the world, and they're all realizing they need an EMS, an extracurricular management system that we're pioneering. And now more than ever, schools are seeing the value in that, and I'm confident that we're uniquely positioned to help globally schools provide amazing experiences for students and parents.
Thanks, Sam. All right, over to the audience questions. Over to you, Sophia.
Awesome. So, Sam, how are you different to the other existing school systems out there?
Okay, yeah, interesting question. So I would say that there's a lot of other systems at schools, and they have tried at times to do what we do. However, a lot of them try to do everything. And by definition of trying to do everything, they just do nothing well. They're also known from our customers as just being clunky and pretty hard to use. And as I alluded to, Sophia, extracurricular activities are so critical to the student experience, and also to the brand and the essence of the school. And so our focus is going deep on extracurricular functionality, but then also integrating with these other systems at the school. And the net result of that is it's the best experience possible for the students, the parents, and all the staff involved.
Amazing. That's awesome. Thanks, Sam. Just quickly, I'm just loving all the photos that are coming out on Twitter. The hashtag is trending. Startmate Demo Day. Keep them coming. It's just really awesome to see. So thank you. We'll move on to the next one.
Thanks.
Thanks for all of the amazing questions that are coming in on Slido. If you still have a burning question and want to get in touch with one of the founders, please click on the Request a Connection button below. We can link you up with the founders after this event. Whether it's for investment, a job, interest as a customer, or just a general chat, the Sydney 20 cohort would love to hear from you. If you are interested in applying for our next cohort, you can either register an expression of interest online or apply for office hours. If you don't win one of the spots through Twitter tonight, you can fill in an application form just below. Click on the Register Here button. Next up, we have Sid, founder of Manufacturing Mate.
G'day teammates, my name's Sid Steele and I'm the CEO and co-founder at Manufacturing Mate. At Manufacturing Mate, we're automating the supply chain from design to build. Local manufacturing has declined since the 70s because it was too expensive to manufacture at home. So we're making manufacturing at home cost effective again. Here's a typical steel manufacturer's office. Manufacturing is one of the least digitised sectors in our economy. Some firms have digitised, but their systems are all powered by manual data entry. So that's the first area we're going to improve efficiency in. Manufacturing Mate starts with a standalone Windows app that connects to your local CAD. First off, we configure the properties we want to extract, then browse the assembly and upload it. Once all of the data is ingested, we can search for a part. From here, we can view a myriad of important data. Let's have a look at processes. In here, we can see the manufacturing steps that our geometric kernel has calculated. Now, if we go to the parent assemblies, we can navigate to a higher assembly page. On an assembly page, we can view a structured bill of materials, a parts list, a purchase components list, and a material list where your member and plate nests are automatically generated and stored. We can then download all of the associated manufacturing files in any configuration, or share it with the manufacturer with the right tooling to make it. To finish off, let's render this assembly's 3D model in our web browser. Gone are the days of trying to organise paper drawings on the workshop floor. At Manufacturing Mate, we're automating the supply chain from design to build.
All right. Don't forget to request connections to the startups as well. You can go at the bottom and you can actually talk to any one of our founders. As we mentioned, the videos are very customer focused. So, hey Sid, are you there?
Howdy, how's it going?
Hey. How would you explain what you do to the audience, or how the steel manufacturing industry actually works to the audience in simpler words?
So it'll probably be easier if I gave you an example of some customers of ours. So Free Spirit Campers are a local Aussie caravan manufacturer. They come up with an idea, then they turned that idea into a 3D model, and then they turned it into drawings so they could send it out to other manufacturers to quote and manufacture the smaller parts they needed. Yeah, that's how modeling works today.
And how is it currently done? Like what solutions are they using now?
So right now, after they've come up with the 3D model, they split every single model out into an individual part drawing manually. They manually draw it, then they zip it all up, make a spreadsheet, and send it to the supply chain manufacturer to make it. And then that supply chain manufacturer unzips it all, converts it all to another format, and then uploads it to their system, which is pretty backwards.
And why are you guys the best team to solve this problem?
So I just love building things, especially out of steel. I'm like a third generation engineer. I started off as a fitter and I spent 10 years in the steel industry just making stuff, and I just loved it. But I couldn't do it anymore because I was going insane, the amount of rework everyone was having to do. And then I saw a lot of manufacturing go offshore because we couldn't compete. So what I decided to do was start investing time into software to try and make us competitive again by reducing all that rework.
Awesome. All right, that's all my questions. Over to you, Sophia, for the audience question.
Hey, Sid. So how does Manufacturing Mate add value to the supply chain?
So right now we have schedulers working at manufacturing companies everywhere. And what they do is they read every single drawing, they assign quantities, and they work out what processes need to happen to manufacture that specific part. And that's a lot of overhead that our geometric algorithm can just do straight away. So now work can automatically import into their system from any other format and then populate exactly what needs to happen to make that part. And those schedulers now become like client-facing project managers. That's how we're reducing costs in the supply chain to make us competitive again.
Amazing, thank you.
Thanks.
So now it is time for the first Twitter lucky draw, and someone is going to win some office hours. So the way that we're going to do this, I'm going to share my screen, and I hope that this works. Let me just get the right thing. Okay. Michael, does that come up okay?
Yep, I can see it.
Awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, Michael, you're going to close your eyes. I'm going to scroll up and down, and whenever you shout stop, that is going to be the lucky winner. Okay, I'm scrolling. I'm scrolling. Look at all these wonderful pictures coming in. I love it. So good.
Right. 3, 2, 1. Which one?
That startup show.
So
I'm
I guess
gonna go to the picture. I'm gonna go to William. So unk_1337. I'm gonna message you. You've got an office hours spot. Well done. Awesome. Cool. Let's move on to the next one.
We will now hear from a founder who went through office hours himself before applying to the Startmate programme. Introducing you to Sean, founder and CEO of Mint.
Hi, I'm Sean Grilly, the founder and CEO of Mint. The foundation of every lasting relationship is trust. At Mint, we help aged care providers establish and maintain trust with their customers and families by sharing the day-to-day moments and unseen experiences of quality care. We are helping aged care providers smash the assumptions formed by bad press and royal commissions, by shedding a more positive, personal interaction that's simple and private. Mint was originally started to solve my own family problem of staying connected to my grandfather Jack, living alone with dementia. Due to distance and an inability to visit all the time, we were dependent on his care staff to provide us with crucial updates about his well-being. This was very frustrating and time-consuming. As we began co-designing Mint with aged care providers, we learnt that care staff like Susan provide incredible care that no one sees, resulting in hours of communication admin bombarded by emails, phone calls, and texts from anxious and concerned families. But why does Susan's work go unseen? It's simple. There was no simple and time-saving way for her to send updates, so that's exactly what we built. Mint does three things. 1. Provide critical business alerts direct to stakeholders. 2. Send transparent updates to friends and family about service delivery and care. And 3. Receive and respond to direct feedback and complaints. On the front end, family and staff users enjoy a social media newsfeed where text, image and video updates are posted by staff and families. On the back end, businesses can utilise a robust communication system which can be customised for residential care, home care and retirement living. Launching is as simple as a bulk upload of user details and a click of a button. So say goodbye to email, phone calls, paper newsletters, and overworked spreadsheets, and say hello to Mint, the freshest way to capture every moment in time throughout your service experience.
All right, so back to me. Next one up, Sean. Hey, Sean.
Hey, Michael, how you going?
Hey. So there's so many communication apps. I mean, Messenger, WhatsApp, Facebook. Why would anyone use Mint?
Yeah, great question. I mean, the hard reality of it is there's really strict legislation and policy around data storage in the aged care industry, and that requires providers have their storage on Australian servers. So, Facebook or Messenger, WhatsApp, their servers aren't in Australia. With Mint, that's where ours are. So, yeah, meeting the standard.
And have you seen anyone else actually use those products in aged care facilities?
I've actually had direct interaction with families and staff who have been using a different social media platform, and we've been brought in to actually replace that, but still keep that experience between the staff and family going. But I think the thing to be clear on is that staff member and others have been reprimanded by their bosses for using other social medias because it is a breach of legislation. So.
Mm-hmm. And what is your unique insight that you've gained through talking to customers?
Yeah, so in February, we had 50 meetings with 50 different aged care executive teams. And one great example of something that we learned is the average senior manager spends 2 days a month collating and bringing to life their feedback and complaints data. But more importantly, they may not actually know the outliers or concerns in that feedback until they've collated the data at the end of the month, which is really concerning. With Mint, it collates in minutes, and that report pops up. But more importantly, they can actually check it every day from their phone or their computer, opposed to like a localized spreadsheet.
And so they're still using spreadsheets. So how do they actually capture feedback and complaints?
Yeah, there's a lot of overworked spreadsheets in aged care. The methods are a paper form or in person, verbal, and then recorded and generally put into a spreadsheet and uploaded to a risk management system. Where we change that is we have a web form that's dynamic, that sits on the web page. As a Mint user, you can submit feedback, and then more importantly, you can also still put paper forms in, but it all goes to one place and everyone in management is notified accordingly. So,
yeah, right. And you also mentioned that you've got a social part of the platform.
Yeah, so Mint Social, which is the comms section, and what we've seen from our customer interviews was that our really champion active staff members are active and become really active because they have positive feedback from the families, which is amazing. So we see them get more engaged when they actually make more posts and families respond positively, which has been fantastic to learn and see.
And how did the coronavirus impact your business?
Yeah, so I mean, we're all aware that aged care has been in the headlines regarding, elderly and vulnerable are most at risk to coronavirus. And in the short term, what we've seen is aged care providers have put spend and bigger spends on hold. But with our existing customers, they've actually increased the immediate use of Mint. So for example, last month we had 798 new users and 1,000 new alert text messages sent out and a 1,400% increase in post updates, which is insane. And this month, we've just had a request to next week to onboard 1,700 new users. And we're doing this all remotely for the first time. So normally this would actually be in person. And the aged care industry is actually becoming really accepting of the SaaS model where you build something that supports them and then work with them a bit to get it off the ground. So it's been awesome to see our value proposition become crystal clear.
And the last question is, what's next?
Yeah, so this month, as a short-term focus, we're going completely SaaS with the product just for scale and to grow faster. We just partnered with the Council of the Aging in South Australia, who represent 633,000 seniors, and that's being offered to them. So getting those users all up and running, and then starting the process for $1 million seed round as well to support the team and scale the product globally.
Right, all right, that's all of my questions. Over to you, Sophia, for the audience question. You just muted Sophia. Let's try that again. There we go.
Okay, sorry. An update, we're trending #1 on Twitter, which is great fun. Sean, it also looks like you've got a couple of potential customers in the feed, which is cool. If you are interested in connecting with Sean as a recap, please fill in the request a connection form. He'd love to hear from you, as with all the founders would. So Sean, question from the audience. Who pays for this service? Is it the aged care providers or is it the families?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, and awesome to know we have some interested customers in the audience. Go to our website at mymint.app. Yeah, so it depends on the business. We've seen one of our customers absorb the cost because they looked at it as a sales and marketing tool and a benefit of their service offering as an aged care provider. And then we've seen other businesses put it in the additional services profile of their company and then actually increase, put a profit line on top of that and then offer that out as well. So where the customer or the older person or their family would actually pay. So it depends on the business. But what we're seeing is that most businesses are absorbing the cost as a running cost and an offering.
Awesome, cool. All right, on to the next.
So Sophia, I think it's for this one, I think it's you providing the fellowship update.
All right, cool. Let me just share my screen with you.
So we're now halfway through demo day. 5 companies in, we've got 6 more to go. The last 4 companies will be our climate cohort. So definitely stick around. So yeah, over to you, Sophia.
Okay, let me just get this going. Michael, can you see that?
Not yet, no. There we go. Now I've got it.
Awesome. So hi, I realize I've been popping in and out all night, and you've been hearing my wonderful Scottish accent out of nowhere, and I haven't even said hello yet. So I'm Sophia. I head up community and also our fellowship program here at Startmate. I'm super excited to share the fellowship with you. We're now halfway through our current cohort, which is women only, and unexpectedly it's been running fully remote. The energy and the progress that the fellows have been making so far is just incredible, and it's just been an awesome thing to be a part of. So the goals of the fellowship are twofold. For fellows, it's about creating pathways for talented people into their dream startup jobs, enabling personal development and building a network for life. For Startup Australia, we want to generate an exceptional pool of talent locally. We want to help think about some of the talent shortages that exist. So let me introduce you to Nicole. Nicole started her career on a typical finance trajectory. Into investment banking she went, where she worked long hours on challenging problems and learned a lot. That kept her there for a few hours. She first dipped her toe into startups through her time at Reimagined. Here she fell in love with startups, the way that people worked, and the energy that came with it. Nicole then joined McKinsey, fantastic training ground. Nicole spent almost 3 years working on some pretty cool projects, but her itch to return to startups just wasn't going away. Having been in corporate for so long, she'd lost that sense of the energy that came with startups. Enter the Startmate Fellowship. From interview day, that energy was revived in Nicole. Throughout the fellowship, Nicole was heavily connected into the startup space. From investors to operators to founders, Nicole was motivated from making that change from corporate life. And the program helped her to create a clear pathway into that world by helping her translate her skills and experience into a newly created and perfect role for her. Through the program, Nicole met Tim Doyle, founder of Eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is a brand engine that builds and runs digital consumer companies. Having started their first brand, a men's telehealth business, the founders had a rough idea for the second brand. And Nicole came in and she kind of got to understand what the problem was and really wanted to work in that space. And she helped the founders to conceptualize a women's brand. And she took it from rough idea to reality. And now, Nicole is a founder and general manager of Kin Fertility, a fertility telehealth business. No longer is Nicole on the sidelines, but at the forefront of impactful work. So if you have an itch and want to do something impactful and meaningful, the fellowship could be for you. You'll meet some incredible people and be exposed to some of the world's hardest and most exciting problems. If you do want to join us, please reach out to me or register an expression of interest at the form at the bottom of this page. The program as well, it works well alongside working full-time. So you can dip your toe in and get a sense of what it's about before making the full commitment. And for Startup Australia to continue to scale, talent is critical. And the fellowship can really help the startup ecosystem by generating an exceptional pool of talent locally and feed that shortage. Thanks for listening. Let's get back to the show.
Next up, we've got Kemlyn, CEO and founder of ExpenseMate.
Hi, my name's Kemlyn and I'm the founder and CEO of ExpenseMate. When was the last time you tried to save your company money when booking business travel? If your company allowed you to stay in a fancy hotel, would you ever volunteer to stay in Airbnb or a friend's house? Or how about flying economy instead of business class? Travel is one of the largest and most difficult costs to control, as employees typically book last minute and spend the maximum allowance. ExpenseMate is a smart solution that reduces travel costs by motivating employees to spend less. Here's how it works in 3 easy steps. Step 1. ExpenseMate's smart algorithms predict how much a trip should cost. Step 2. Employees book travel looking for ways to save, such as booking in advance, opting for a cheaper fare, or crashing at a friend's. Step 3. Employees forward their booking receipts to ExpenseMate. The more money they save, the bigger the reward. It's a win-win solution. ExpenseMate believes in recognizing and rewarding employees who act like owners. We empower your team to make business travel rewarded. Sign up today for your free account.
All right. Hey, Kemlyn, you over there?
Hello.
Hey. All right. Well, I love the concept of ExpenseMate. I mean, I travel a bit cheaper, the company saves money, and make money. Sounds like win-win. How did you actually come up with the idea?
Yeah, you're right. It's a win-win. So the business actually, or the idea of ExpenseMate, came from my own personal frustration of managing costs as a general manager at my previous role. And at the time, the company was going through a turnaround situation. And after successfully turning the business around, we looked at ways that we could reduce costs. And for us, like most companies, our 3 largest costs were payroll, office space, and travel. And like most companies, we had your standard travel policy, which was, try to opt for the cheapest flights, don't spend more than $250 on accommodation, and $70 meal allowance per day. And my team would typically book last minute. They would go for the Qantas flexi fare because they got the points.
they would stay in the nicest possible hotel they could for $250 and have steak dinners most nights. And, who would blame them? We've all been there. Employees will always opt for comfort, convenience, and brand loyalty when on the road. So that's when I came up with the idea, what if we were to motivate employees to treat company expenses more like their own? They could continue to travel however they like. However, if they chose to save the company money, then they would get rewarded with a portion. I suppose that the fundamental reason of why I started is I believe that the way we currently remunerate people is broken, and there's a better way to motivate, recognize, and reward employees who act like owners. It's the entrepreneurs that you want in your business, and that's what ExpenseMate's all about.
I love that. But obviously now with COVID-19, travel has stopped completely. How did that impact your business?
It had obviously a huge impact. During Startmate, we had some fantastic traction. We had built and launched our platform within a month at the start of February. We signed up at least 2 companies every week and had 30 companies overall and had 50 trips within the platform. But unfortunately, with COVID-19, travel flew off a cliff. So we've taken the incredibly tough decision to put the business on hold and preserve cash. In saying that, we see a huge opportunity at the back end of this crisis to really help companies maintain those cost savings that they would have got accustomed to over the next couple of months.
Yeah, which is kind of my next question. So what's next for you guys when you come out of hibernation, or when is it?
Yeah, hopefully as soon as possible. But in saying that, like I said, we see a huge opportunity to help maintain those costs at the back end of travel. But I suppose my biggest ask would be, please sign up to the platform when your companies start to travel. It's free to sign up. You only pay when you actually save money. And on a separate note, obviously in the time being, I've got some time on my hands. So if any companies or people within the network are looking for someone to help, I'm all ears and would love to hear from you.
Awesome. That's all my questions. Over to you, Sophia, for the audience question.
Hey, Cameron. So tell us, how do you compare to TripActions?
Yeah, very good question. So TripActions is a corporate travel management platform. So that's a great way to go and book your travel through them. They can manage it. However, we are looking at all travel, meals, and all expenses, and motivate beyond that. So I believe TripActions really just motivate on the hotel side of things, whereas we can actually work alongside the likes of TripActions, Corporate Traveler, Expedia. We empower the employees to make the choice when they book their travel, however they like, and if they then save, they get rewarded with different incentives through ExpenseMate.
Cool, thanks for that, Cameron. I just want to I'm just loving all the engagement that's going on. It's really amazing to see. I'm just going to say hi to a few people tuning in. So Stuart Mahi, Jess Pattinson, Caleb Hurd, Emma Jones, Armina, hi, Amanda Miller. So great to see so many of you tuning in and being a part of this story with us. Thanks. Let's move on to the next one.
At Startmate, we are committed to creating pathways for women in tech. From our fellowship program to mentor recruitment to the makeup of our founding teams on the accelerator, we work hard to factor both diversity and inclusion into all of our decisions. We see it as both our responsibility and also our privilege to be supercharging women's experiences as entrepreneurs and giving them an equal opportunity in our ecosystem. Next up is one of our women founders, Stephanie Weiss, founder of Arula, who is solving a very real and important problem for many women today.
All women are different shapes and sizes, but this can change when a woman gets a mastectomy. At Arula, we understand that all breasts are unique, and by using breast prostheses after a mastectomy, it should not weigh you down. With breast cancer being the second most prevalent form of cancer in the world, our aim is to make women feel comfortable within their own skin. That is why we have created Arula, the world's most comfortable breast prostheses. Our prostheses are 3D printed so that they are customized to any woman, no matter shape or size. But not only that, they are also the lightest breast prostheses. Using patent pending materials and technology, they are designed to be worn every day and are fitted to shape, movement, and size. Right now, we are in the process of making our product free for you. So how do you get an Arula breast prostheses? The process is as simple as 1, 2, 3. Get on our app and take a few images. We will then match your 3D model with a customized set of prostheses. You then get to check to see if you're happy with the size, shape, fit. And once we get your approval, it's time for us to print them out and ship them off to you, all within a week. Arula is on a mission to give choice and dignity back to women.
All right. Hey, Steph.
Hey, how are you?
Hey. So why are you working on breast prosthesis?
Well, coming from a family and a community where breast cancer is very prevalent is something very personal to me. After working in the biomedical engineering field, I realized that I really wanted to make a difference in women's health, and I really like maths. I realized it's a huge problem because worldwide, 1 in 6 women get breast cancer with a growth rate of 9.3% each year. And of all those women, 60% of them need to get a mastectomy, which comes to about a $170 billion market worldwide. We currently live in a world where there are surgical robots and bionic eyes, yet for breast prostheses, we're limited to 3 sizes. And we all know women don't come in 3 sizes.
And you also mentioned in the video that your product is free. How does that work?
Yes, so our product falls under the Medicare external breast prostheses rebate. We create each one for $50 and then sell them for $400, which is the capped amount for the Medicare rebate.
And is that only in Australia then?
No, so we've actually also secured rebates in New Zealand and the UK, as well as an 80% rebate in the US. Plus, any woman with a mastectomy is eligible for these rebates every 2 years.
And you said they're 3D printed. How does that actually work then?
So current prostheses are made through using injection molding, which is expensive unless you have a small range in sizing. This is why we use 3D printing. Our unique value proposition is that each one of our prostheses are created to take into consideration size, shape, and movement, which is why they are all individually printed. But also that we have spoken to many women which have said that the lack of size differentiation and the weight distribution are some of the biggest problems, which is where our patents come into place.
All right, well, that's all my questions. Over to you, Sophia.
Hey, Steph.
Hi.
Steph, what's your go-to-market strategy?
So with COVID-19, we've had to postpone our user testing, but we will be running remote user testing once our patents are pending, which means that we'll actually be able to get much more data on everyday life. So both our product testing and our selling will be manufactured onshore using 3D printers so that our supply chain hasn't been affected at all. And once we're happy with our product, we will get into manufacturing and selling before getting our TGA approval, because we're actually lucky that we don't actually need any TGA or medical approval to sell, but we're going to get it anyway, just to give our customers the peace of mind.
Amazing. Well done, Steph. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Startmate recognises that we are in a climate crisis and all hands need to be on deck, especially the creative entrepreneurs. So we launched the Startmate Climate Stream, an expansion of our accelerator programme to fund and support startups addressing the climate crisis. The final 4 startups you'll hear from tonight is our climate cohort. From companies reimagining solar to insect meals, we are excited to reveal our 4 companies who are working to make a difference to our planet. First up, we have Constantine, founder and CEO of Switch2.
The average beer drinker consumes 85 liters of beer per year, producing 425 liters of wastewater, releasing 600 kilograms of CO2, equivalent to driving a round trip from Sydney to Melbourne. In Australia, we consumed 2 billion liters of beer last year, equivalent to 2.8 megatons of CO2 released. Additionally, 10 billion liters of wastewater was produced, which needs to be paid to be treated by breweries. What if I told you we could process the wastewater and convert it into clean energy? At Switch2, we have developed a catalyst for a device called an electrolyzer, which can process organics within wastewater and convert it into hydrogen, a clean-burning fuel. Hydrogen is the fuel you're going to be using when fossil fuels run out. It's clean-burning, and in our case, sustainably sourced. The breweries are able to repurpose that hydrogen for heating, transportation, as well as electricity, saving each large brewery up to $1 million in annual operating costs. By doing so, we enable breweries to transition to a circular economy profitably. Our modular technology works in breweries of all size, and due to the versatility of our catalyst, it has application in the wider food and beverages industry as they produce organic-rich wastewater. This is an industry that is responsible for 60% of global CO2 emissions annually. Together, we can change the way the world sees waste, transitioning the FMCG industry towards a circular, sustainable, and fruitful industry. So now, you can get back to enjoying that 85 liters of beer guilt-free.
All right, well, you just met our first company from the climate cohort of the 4 companies which we've got of this one. And hi, Konstantin, you there?
Hi, Michael. How's it going?
Hey, I love the animated video. And there's actually not many startups in the brewery industry. And so why is brewery waste so good for you?
Well, breweries are actually the low-hanging fruit in the food and beverage industry because they generate so much waste. And it's actually about 5 liters of beer byproduct produced per liter of beer made. And that looks something like this, which is pretty huge. And at the same time, these breweries require fossil fuels to meet all of their energy demands. So it means that not only are they waste intensive, but they're also energy and carbon intensive. But because hydrogen's so versatile, it's actually able to satisfy most of the energy requirements of the brewery. So things like heating, transportation, forklifts. So breweries were really the obvious choice because they'd benefit the most out of hydrogen.
And
speaking from like a personal level though, like amongst the Switch2 co-founders, we're responsible for a lot of that beer waste produced. So we thought it'd be kind of fitting to give back to the industry.
And can it also be applied to any other industries?
Yep, so it's not just the brewery waste that we can treat, it's the organic rich waste that comes out from the wider food and beverage industry. So similar organic waste comes from, for example, the dairy, distillery, bakery producers. And it's this organic waste that we can actually extract the hydrogen that comes out. So we've estimated that globally, there's about 500 billion liters of that waste produced each year that we can treat. And cumulatively, those industries account for about 60% of global CO2 emissions. So there's definitely a need to decarbonize widely.
Yeah, right. And I don't know much about electrolyzer, but how does Switch2's technology actually work?
Yep. So firstly, we offer a turnkey solution for on-site hydrogen production and utilization from wastewater. So I've got an example of one of our demonstration scale electrolyzers here. Inside of this device, we have something called a catalyst, which we design and manufacture. And we design these catalysts so that they're able to actually split the organics in the wastewater and generate hydrogen. And that's different to normal electrolysis, which splits pure water, because by splitting the organics, it's actually energetically easier than splitting pure water. On top of that, we don't actually need to purify the water that goes into our device. So overall, it means by actually oxidizing or breaking down these organics, we can actually save about 30 to 50% of energy required compared to the state of the art.
And what are the alternative ways to make hydrogen?
Yeah, it's a good question. So right now in industry, hydrogen is primarily made from fossil fuels. So things like the steam reforming of methane or coal gasification. Unfortunately, with these processes, there's about 10 times more carbon dioxide emitted according to how much mass of hydrogen is actually produced. As I mentioned before, the renewable hydrogen, on the other hand, is produced from pure water. Unfortunately, that also means that if you want to produce hydrogen on scale using pure water, you actually need to co-locate your production facilities near a wastewater treatment facility. And that means that there are issues with the storage and transportation of hydrogen. So using our technology, the electrolyzer that we make with wastewater, we actually decentralize hydrogen production. So it's produced where it's actually needed, and we avoid that big barrier of the storage and transportation costs associated with hydrogen in penetrating the current energy economy.
Love it. And it sounds like you need quite a lot of money. Are you raising right now?
So we're looking to raise a seed round later this year to fund our pilot scale and also our full scale implementation next year with one of our brewery partners. So if you are interested in making beer healthier for the planet, please do get in touch with us.
Love it. All right. All of my questions over to you, Sophia.
Amazing. The top comment that's coming in is, this is the second best idea ever created after beer. Take my money. So the top actual question is, how much of a bet is this on hydrogen versus other sustainable energy sources?
Sorry, what was the question?
How much of a bet is your company on hydrogen versus other sustainable energy sources?
Yeah, sure. So hydrogen is just one means to incorporate renewable energy into the grid. So with like traditional ways of energy generation, for example, from wind or solar, they're quite intermittent and it's quite hard to store those electrons. So in our way, we're actually taking those renewable energy electrons, producing that hydrogen. And because hydrogen is so versatile, it can be reconverted back into electricity. It can be used for transportation, heating, other chemical synthesis methods. That hydrogen allows those renewable energies to be integrated. So it's not really one versus the other. It's really about a full-scale implementation of these different technologies according to where they're needed best.
Awesome. Okay,
cool.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Sophia.
Office hours are an amazing chance to have a one-to-one mentoring session with some of Australia's top founders, investors and operators. Last time, our mentors included Rachel Newman, head of startups at AWS, the founders of Culture Amp, Catherine Apt, former CMO of the Americas at Xero, and Cameron Adams, one of the founders of Canva. Keep engaging on Twitter to be in with a chance of being randomly selected to spend time with your mentor of choice. Alternatively, you can click on the button below to fill in an application form for office hours. Spaces are limited. Next up, we have Lewis, founder of Biogen.
Hi, I'm Lewis Dunnigan from Biogen, and we're on a mission to rehabilitate the world's contaminated soil, water, and air. We're doing this using our patented activated carbon technology. Activated carbon is a special material that's been made to contain a huge internal surface area, over 1,000 square meters per gram. This surface area means that pollutants get stuck inside and removed from the ecosystem. The world's activated carbon market is valued at $10 billion and growing at 17% per year. The majority of the world's activated carbon is used for water treatment and air purification. However, there are two big problems. Traditional manufacturers use vast amounts of energy and coal, leading to huge CO2 emissions, and they also offer no tailoring and customization for the wide range of applications. We didn't think this was okay anymore, so we developed a new, sustainable and low-cost method of activated carbon production. Our unique method operates at much lower temperatures, resulting in a production cost only 1/3 that of conventional producers and a 30% decrease in capex. We can also tailor our product to offer customized activated carbon, and our process is carbon negative, using renewable agricultural waste, meaning that a switch to our activated carbon would result in the same greenhouse gas reduction as removing all the cars from London in 1 year. One example of this is PFAS, a carcinogenic firefighting foam that is causing drinking water problems across the world. We're currently preparing samples of bespoke and sustainable activated carbon for customers who use a combined total of 5,000 tonnes per year. Our partners apply this activated carbon to contaminated sites in order to remediate the PFAS problem. We want to make a difference to the world we live in by providing sustainable, carbon negative, and highly tailored activated carbon. We believe that our team, combined with our amazing technology, are primed to change the activated carbon industry forever.
All right, so we're on to company number 9 out of 11. Hey, Lewis.
Hey, Michael.
Hey. So I take it activated carbon already exists. So why do companies need your activated carbon? How is it actually different?
Yeah, so despite it being a $10 billion market, customers currently have to buy lots of different products, blend them, spend lots of time and money figuring out how to get better performance. And actually, it leads to a lot of large projects being cancelled due to the carbon being too expensive or just simply not good enough. So the reason that we're different is that our patented method can produce activated carbon at around about 1/3 the traditional cost. So we have significantly greater margins, as well as being able to tailor the product so customers can use us exclusively instead of having to shop around to different sources. And this actually helps us a lot with licensing as well, because companies across a wide range of industries can now turn low-value byproducts into high-value activated carbon.
And you also said that you make activated carbon sustainably. How does that benefit the customers?
Yeah, so the fact that the status quo is unsustainable is a big problem. A lot of the companies we work with are involved in environmental remediation. So they want to know that what they're using is made from sustainable materials, and they want to see a positive change in the market. So it really is a common problem. By using cheap and renewable agricultural waste, as well as our process being carbon negative, we can really offer sustainable activated carbon with the potential for carbon credits in the future, and customers benefit from improved performance at the same time.
So as Matt Allen would say, what's next?
Yeah, so we're currently raising 500,000. We're looking to match 1-to-1 with a grant, and we're going to use this funding for two main purposes. The first one is it will allow us to secure pre-orders for our PFAS tailored activated carbon worth around about $6 million a year. And we're really excited about this because the work that we're doing is showing that our product is far better than anything that's currently out there. And we'll also look to bring in additional sales and marketing skills to really allow us to get after some licensing deals we're working on.
All right, that's all of my questions. Over to you, Sophia.
Awesome, thanks. Just picking up on one of the comments coming through about it'd be awesome to cover off revenue models and accessing a pitch deck, and we'll be sending more information about that after the show. So the top question tonight for you, Lewis, is what is done with the waste activated carbon once it has decontaminated something?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So right now in Australia, when activated carbon is being used, and we would refer to it as being spent, it's typically sent to landfill. So people have to pay for the activated carbon to actually be taken away. Now, outside of Australia and some of the bigger markets, there are people that can regenerate it. So take the spent carbon and turn it into effectively new carbon again. But our technology, which can be used to make activated carbon, can also be used to regenerate it at a much lower cost. So we really believe that offering the ability to regenerate the activated carbon once it's being used is unique, and we know that no one else is doing it.
Amazing. Thanks for that. I just want to do another round of hellos on Twitter. It's nice to see a lot of our mentors also tuning in. So hi, Kylie Fraser, Rain, hey, Chris Quirk, Noga Eilstein. So nice to see you supporting us tonight. And as well, all the photos that are coming in. Matt Dickinson, I don't know how you're watching this in a sauna. You're wild. Tom Hill, jealous with your Morefish takeout. Looks awesome. Seb Klein, cooking soup. I love it. Like, thank you so much for all the support and love, and really great to have you with us here tonight. Thanks so much.
Coronavirus and quarantine is stressful. Now more than ever, we are grateful for our amazing community that have been instrumental in the cohort success. For our community here tonight, we really cannot thank you enough for coming together to support during these times. We are just loving the photos coming in and all the comments on Twitter and all the questions. Please keep them coming. It really is amazing to see you all engage and be involved in our first ever live Reimagined event. It's amazing to have you as part of our story and helping you support our cohort of founders who are making a difference to the way that we live our lives. Next up, we have Phoebe, founder of Beyond Ag.
All right. Hey, Phoebe.
Hey, Michael. Awesome to share with you all.
Hey. So how does Beyond Ag's business model actually work? How do you make money?
Yeah, so waste logistics companies deliver food waste directly to our facility, and we process that food waste into a perfect formulation for our insects and feed it to them over 12 days. In that time, they grow over 3,000 times in volume, from the size of a grain of sand to about as big as a jelly bean, with no additional water or chemicals. We then harvest them and create our high quality insect protein, and the insect manure becomes our rich fertilizer. We're paid 3 times. So firstly for our service, accepting the food waste, and then for our 2 products, the insect protein and fertilizer.
Yeah, well, I love it. And so why would anyone pay you to take the food waste?
Yeah, so right now we know that food waste in landfills produces as many greenhouse gases as all road transport globally. And that's why we're seeing increases to government landfill levies in almost every country. And it was actually announced in Victoria that landfill levies are set to double again. So Beyond Ag is accepting food waste for half the price of sending it to landfill and reducing the operational cost for companies with no behavioral change required.
And there's been lots of other alternative protein products, such as the sun-fed chickenless chicken, Wow, Heroes, Beyond Burger. Where does Beyond Ag fit into that?
Yeah, awesome companies and products. So we're actually focusing on providing a sustainable protein source for pet food and animal feed. Protein sourcing is becoming increasingly difficult and expensive for pet food and animal feed producers. For example, in Australia, their inputs doubled in price last year due to climate change and drought. And then globally, we've seen a third of fishes due to overfishing in the last 2 years. So Beyond Ag's insect protein can replace 100% of fish meal and soy in farmed animal diets, and then 100% of all the meat in dog and cat diets. Our lab-based system is really reliable, and it can provide consistent volumes and high quality insect protein to customers at a fixed price.
And so I get the insect protein side, but you also mentioned you've got another product. How is the fertilizer product better or different?
Yeah, so the manure produced by the insects when they're processing the food waste becomes our rich organic fertilizer. And we've achieved outstanding independent lab results over the last 3 months. And they show that our fertilizer has twice as many plant nutrients, actually 240 times more microbial content than our other competitors. And that massively boosts soil fertility and nutrient uptake by plants.
And Beyond Ag has been around for over a year, or just around a year. Where are you at now?
Yeah, so Alex, my co-founder, and we founded Beyond Ag in May 2019. And since then, we've built our test facility from a gravel base at the University of Melbourne to a fully functioning lab, processing 2 tons of food waste per week. And we've also grown our team. We also have fantastic insect protein fertilizer customers who have been with us right from the start and buy everything we produce.
And what's next for you?
Yeah, so what's next? We're actually expanding. So we want to move and process 10 tons of food waste per day. So that's 2 full rubbish trucks per day delivered directly to a centralized facility. And that's equivalent to planting about 1,600 trees per day in carbon offset.
All right, that's all of my questions. Over to you, Sophia, for the audience question.
Amazing. Hi, Phoebe.
Hey, Sophia.
So the top question we've already covered off around differentiation between your competitors. The next one is, why start with pet and animal food before human food?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just quickly cover off differentiation in case I've missed anything. What Beyond Ag is really heavily focused on delivering really high quality products to customers, where our competitors are focused on waste management, and that's just the real difference in the models. And then in terms of pet food and insect protein, what we're seeing is a really interesting market trend in pet food, which is our first market, where consumers are really looking to understand more about what they feed their pets and looking for a sustainable alternative. So that's a really exciting and ready market for insect protein. we'd love to move into human food consumption in the future, but we want to build up our muscle in the deep tech of farming these insects in lab conditions and producing at scale.
Amazing, really cool. Look, I know that there's a load of really interesting questions coming in, and I wish there was more time to hear from the audience. And again, thank you so much for tuning in, supporting. Please do fill in the form, request a connection. We'd be so delighted to connect you up with the founders. They'd love to hear from you. We'll send them the questions that you've asked as well afterwards. If you have left details and filled in that form, we can get back to you. So click on the form below. Thanks so much.
This is your last chance to win office hours. Please tweet us with the hashtag Startmate Demo Day, and we'll be doing one more draw after the last company. Now, the last company is coming up today. They raised their Series A during the Startmate program. I'm really pleased to introduce you the founder and CEO of 5B, Chris McGrath.
All right. Last company of this demo day. Hey, Chris.
G'day, Michael, and everyone.
Hey. So why 5B? Why is it better than conventional solar solutions?
5B is driving a long overdue paradigm shift in our market from built-in situ projects that are based on Meccano sets and hundreds of labourers on site to streamlined, mechanised deployment of standard modular prefabricated product. We're making solar power simpler, faster, and lower cost to deploy. The business model that we're pursuing is also an evolution from the conventional equipment supply and delivery model into our platform model, which is enabling and servicing a growing ecosystem, our ecosystem of service providers, and delivering Maverick solutions across every market segment all over the world. And also providing a marketplace for our channel partners and end users to access Maverick solutions through these service providers.
And I know you've been part of some pretty awesome initiatives recently. Tell us a little bit more about them.
It's been a pretty wild year for us and beyond just the obvious for the world. We had a founding role in the Resilient Energy Collective, which is a rapid rollout of standalone power systems based around 5B's Maverick solar technology to provide emergency power relief for bushfire affected communities. That's a real testament to Startmate. It's an initiative founded by Mike Cannon-Brooks and was birthed by mid-Startmate program between 5B and our legend of a Startmate partner and mentor, Lucy Hankin at Grok. We've also been involved in the Sun Cable project, which is will be the largest solar farm in the world in 3 to 4 years' time at a scale of 10 gigawatts, providing power to 30% of Singapore by a 4,000 kilometre undersea high voltage DC cable, described by Mike Cannon-Brooks as batshit crazy, but the engineering checking out.
And congrats on closing your Series A. What's on the 5B's horizon now post-raise?
Thank you. Yeah, another big milestone for us over the last couple of months. Closing our Series A with the US strategic lead is going to have a really big accelerating impact on our growth and particularly internationally. As a taste of this acceleration, we've already got our first MAVs under production for a megawatt scale pilot project with our partner. Our team's currently placing bets on where they're going to end up in the Americas in a couple of months' time. More broadly, though, what we're undertaking now is a transition from our pilot model into our full scale-up model to be able to address the global market, which includes both consolidating and refining our IP and pushing it out to our ecosystem of partners through our platform, which is really about a transition from us kind of doing everything ourselves to leveraging our ecosystem of partners and getting rapid scalability and real capital efficiency.
All right, that's all of my questions. Over to you, Sophia, for the audience question.
Amazing. Hey, Chris. So first real serious question from Rain is, how much did you pay for that Zoom background?
This one's real. I can keep the dollar counts in the background.
Awesome. All right, serious question. What are the strengths and weaknesses of modular construction relative to traditional fixed installations?
My short answer would probably be there's not too many weaknesses. I think that when you consider the kind of construction environment you can work in on site versus the environment around me here in a factory, it's a bit of a no-brainer to be moving work into a factory and doing it with better quality control, better labor efficiency, better quality of product, etc. And I think, though, in the past there's been attempts to make prefabricated solar work, and they've predominantly been undertaken by people trying to re-engineer a conventional solution into a prefabricated product. And the big difference that we've done is that we've really just stripped down the underlying kind of solution and components and rebuilt them from the ground up with an entirely new kind of paradigm. So what we've ended up is with a prefabricated product, but also one that's optimized around deployment on site, shipping density, prefabrication in the factory, etc. So it's a real kind of paradigm shift and a real kind of difference in philosophy of approaching the problem.
Yeah, amazing. Love it. Cool. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Great. So now that we've heard from all the companies, and thank you so much for everyone for staying to this point, we are now going to do one more Twitter poll.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to pull up the tweets?
All right. Let me share my screen.
Second one.
Can you see that?
Yep. You just go. Yeah.
There we go. Trending number one. Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm scrolling.
All right. I'm gonna go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sebastian Klein cooking his tomato and lentil soup. You are the winner.
Love it. All right, that's our second office hour spot where Sophia's going to message you with your reward. Well, thanks so much for sticking around all the way till the end. Firstly, a huge shout out to the Sydney 20 cohort. And if you want to get in touch with any of the founders or teams, there was over, let me just quickly check. There was 85 requests already submitted, plenty more to come. So if you want to chat to any of the founders, submit them on the website just below. It doesn't matter if you're an investor, a customer, or you just want to chat to the founder. The second one is a huge shout out to our mentors, especially to our Startmate partners, Jeremy Kwonglo and Lucy Hankin, who actually Chris just mentioned as well, from Grok Ventures, as well as James Tynan, for supporting our climate cohort. And lastly, a huge shout out to the Startmate team who you've all met tonight. Sasha, who's led the cohort over the past 3 months. Sophia, who you've met as well, who is leading the current fellowship of 24 incredible women through that right now, and she organized tonight as well as Jan, our intern, who's been working tirelessly in the background to all make this work. If you are a founder, 2 things for you, as I mentioned at the very beginning. The first one is you can still apply for office hours. Just jump on the website, submit your details, only takes 2 minutes. And office hours will be kicking off in a couple of weeks, as well as register your interest for the next cohort. As I mentioned, it will be a virtual cohort. It will be in Australia as well as in New Zealand. You don't have to relocate anywhere, so there's nothing to lose to apply. And for all the operators in the room, so if you're thinking about joining a startup, just register your interest for the fellowship. The next cohort will be kicking off in September. So thanks so much for tuning in, and have a great night, everybody.